One of your other pillars you mentioned during your campaigns was protecting the welfare of lawyers. How are you going about this, especially in regard to the young lawyers in the profession? How are you protecting their welfare?
Okay, so lawyers' main job is to fight for the rights of their clients. And Kenyans suffer from various violations of their rights, either fundamental rights and freedoms in the constitution or other legal rights. And they are violated by other Kenyans or other people, or sometimes by the state or organizations. So the lawyer who's fighting for the rights of Kenyans should also have their own dignity and rights preserved. Before you can have energy to fight for others, you need to have a good work environment. And dignity includes things like earning a decent wage or income, access to resources to enable you to prepare yourself to represent your clients, safety and security, and so on. So these issues of protecting the practice space of lawyers, also against quacks or imposters or people who are masquerading as lawyers and purporting to offer legal services of lower standard because they've not received the level of training and regulation required, and then they drive down the true cost of legal services. All those are problems that we decided we are going to deal with. So we are going to fight things like undercutting, which is where you have some people who charge such low amounts that you cannot organize a dignified practice of the profession unless you can charge something that is dignified. It's like if you want to attract doctors and competent doctors, you have to pay them a reasonable wage. So the same thing for lawyers. We also want the workplace for lawyers to be a workplace with dignity. So things like lawyers having contracts of employment, being able to have medical cover, being recognized when, for example, is a woman who's pregnant, her right to maternity leave, instead of maybe finding that she was made to leave the job before she could give birth so that they don't pay the 3 months. So all these situations affect the welfare of the lawyers, and for young lawyers especially. The legal profession is also a high pressure job. There's a lot of psychological pressure and tension because it's like if you're in litigation, not all lawyers do litigation, some do transaction, but I'll start with litigation as an example. Every case is adversarial. There's like a contest, a competition. You lose, you win. Sometimes your client is very anxious. The judge or judicial officer may have woken up on the wrong side of the bed, or you are just hoping to help your client, and then things don't go well for one reason or the other. So there's a lot of pressure, and they've done even studies, not just in Kenya, but in other countries, showing that the legal profession is a high pressure profession. You may be doing transaction advisory work, and the transaction is urgent, and there are delays in the registries and so on. So because it is a high pressure job, we also need to take care of the wellness of the practitioners, mental health, work-life balance, all these issues. So all those are part of the area of focus that we have, both the preventive, to avoid people undergoing burnout, to avoid them getting into addictive behaviors that don't help them, like alcoholism, which sometimes can affect certain young lawyers, and so on. And then also curative, for those who find themselves needing help. Can we have group medical cover, pension schemes, other mechanisms to support the vulnerable professionals in our midst? So that is what practice and welfare focus is for the LSK in accordance to the manifesto that I sold to members.
Okay. So we've heard how you're tackling that, the welfare of the lawyers. What about the citizens of Kenya who may encounter rogue lawyers? You said that some of them are quacks because maybe they will charge low fees, but they are not real lawyers even to begin with, or else fraudulent transactions happening within the legal body that is being done by lawyers. How can a citizen, what does a citizen do, like if that happens to them?
Okay, so let me distinguish between two groups of people. One is people who are not actual lawyers. They have not been admitted to the bar as advocates, or they have not taken out their license, which we call practicing certificate, which means they're not undergoing continuous training. They're not under regulation. So that is a group that we call quacks. They're
Yeah.
actually not meant to be offering legal services.
Yes.
And what the LSK is doing is, when we find out about them, we use various mechanisms, for example, with the assistance of the police, to prosecute them, because this is unlawful
Yes.
to purport to practice law when you are not an advocate who's regulated and who's educated and trained in the practice of that particular area. So for the non-lawyers, we can get information from the public through whistleblowing, and they'll be prosecuted in the courts to stop doing what they are doing. And those are just fraud cases, and they'll be dealt with as such. In the case of lawyers who are actually licensed, sometimes we may also have rotten apples amongst our midst. And like any other profession, we have a disciplinary mechanism. We have an Advocates Complaints Commission that is under the Office of the Attorney General, and we have an Advocates Disciplinary Tribunal that receives disciplinary cases against lawyers and processes them. And for me, one of the things I said, because another pillar of my manifesto was integrity of both the bar and the bench. The bar is the lawyers and the bench is the judiciary, and also registries. One of the things we are doing is we are trying to improve and streamline the process of this disciplinary tribunal or disciplinary cases against lawyers, so that they can move fast, they can be more effective, and a decision can be reached one way or the other, and whoever is not satisfied can appeal to the High Court. So there are mechanisms we are putting in place, and we will be communicating more to the public about how to take their complaint to the Advocates Complaint Commission, to their dispute to the Advocates Disciplinary Tribunal, how to engage even a lawyer to assist them if they have an issue against another lawyer, and even how LSK can guide them through a process of complaints, because we want legal services to be offered to the highest standard, ethical, with professional excellence, and responsive to the needs of the public.